a veteran campaigner, political activist and scientist. He has led campaigns on housing, transport, jobs, student rights and climate realism. And over the past 2 years ongoing, he stands up and up to tireless campaigns and tirelessly campaigns daily against dictatorial powers imposed in the name of everything, I would say, yeah. So he's here today, an accomplished and internationally renowned scientist, astrophysicist and meteorologist. And he runs the weatheraction.com, the long-range weather forecasters. He is unafraid to stand against the stream on climate change theory. And we are very, very proud to have him here today to speak for us here at Hope Sussex and for all of you beautiful, wonderful community. Please put your hands together to welcome the absolutely fantastic Piers Corbyn.
First of all, thank you to everybody that arranged this, and Niall as well, who fixed it up and phoned us. But, you know, this is a fantastic venue and you're fantastic people. So thank you. And we need hundreds of these venues around the country. They are growing. I've been to quite a few, but, you know, we have to lead by example. Now, I'm a long-range weather forecaster and physicist and theoretical physicist and astrophysicist and a number of things. And I wrote my first scientific papers when I was 17, and they were published indeed. I've had a gap of writing, but I have wrote some since, but I've been campaigning instead, in a way. But what I would say, the crucial thing to know about the climate con is that, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Yes, just a few things that happened to get to where I am. I got invited, and just an example of how evil these people are, I got invited to a special meeting in the Russian Academy of Sciences, run by Putin's chief scientific advisor, and they had 4 or 5 scientists from around the world, 5 of us in all. And the Met Office had been invited. This is a funny story, so you'll like it. Met Office had been invited, or they'd invited themselves, to tell the Russians what to do and sign the Kyoto Protocol. Fine. Now, we were invited there secretly, and the Met Office were told by Andrei Leonov, when they were waiting at Heathrow Airport to get on a plane, he phoned them up and said, oh, Piers Corbyn and Richard Lindzen, and he listed them, are all here. And they said, okay, we're not coming then. But he knew they would, he said. And they indeed came, and they were really totally pissed off with us. And, you know, they were standing in front of us, and I was giving a presentation. I said, wouldn't it be good, Professor Houghton, if this graph showed CO2 and temperatures moving like that? But it's not, is it? And he wouldn't say anything. Of course he wasn't. It was solar activity and temperature, you see. Anyway, in the break, interesting discussion. They've got this idea that radiation goes upwards and it's conserved. So radiation meets the cloud, and then radiation will be absorbed by the cloud and re-radiated exactly the same amount. Now, of course, it's a complete bollocks. It doesn't happen like that, because once a photon hits something, it goes. That's the end of the photon. So in the break, I was saying to her, and they were all going around, each 5 of us, said, oh, Piers, you know, you're better than this lot, you know. He wanted to join us, you see. I said, look, this radiation equilibrium, blah, 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 it's bollocks, you know that. He said, yes, it is, but we teach that in schools. I said, yes, but this is the Russian Academy of Sciences. And then he said, and then he walked away. But see, the point is they know they are lying. And then another example, which is also fun, 2010, we had predicted the coldest December for 100 years. And we know after it, David Cameron said it was the coldest December of 100 years, so we know it was true. But in the middle of that, I was invited by some young trainee on the BBC. Oh, Mr. Corbyn, would you please come along and speak to us at the Good Morning whatever show about this cold winter, this cold December you predicted? I said, yeah, sure I will, but I think your boss won't want me. And she said, don't be silly, of course we want you. Anyway, she said, oh, I'm going to phone you up with a taxi. All right, 2 hours later, nothing had happened, so I phoned her up. I said, excuse me, the taxi, what's going to happen tomorrow? She said, Mr. Corbyn, I said, what's the problem? She said, we've got somebody else. I said, oh, who's that? And she said, we've got Sir David King, the government's chief scientific advisor. And I said, he knows FA. Actually, I used the Queen's English version of FA, but there's children here. And then basically she put the phone down. So that was it. But see, they are frightened of the truth. And Sir David King is appearing soon in the LSE, by the way, and we're going to be there saying hello to him. So join in. Okay, so there's lots of lies around, and they don't want any debate. Man-made climate change doesn't exist. So I think to understand why, because you're going to confront people who are really obsessed with it, and they just can't believe that you don't believe it. First thing to understand is that carbon dioxide levels follow temperatures. They follow temperatures. They don't lead them, they follow them. And there's a graph here. This one is carbon dioxide levels over the last 20,000 years, and this one is temperatures. Sorry, no, this one is temperatures, and this one is the carbon dioxide levels. So the temperatures go up, and then later, some hundreds of years later actually, because of the circulation of the oceans, CO2 levels go up. Well, that should be the end of the argument. That is the end of the argument. There's no point in their idea if that works. Anyway, I put this forward at some meetings, and then the head of physics in Imperial says, "Oh yes, Piers, but then at the end of that, the extra CO2 makes it all get hotter." And they were trying to recruit children into Imperial, and she said, "Isn't that true, children?" And they all said, "Yes, yes, 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 yes," and they all cheered, and then she moved on. But look, that is a lie too, because if that's true, then you should see a sudden blip of extra temperature in the temperature measurement after the CO2's gone up, but it isn't there. So her claim is false, false, false. Everything they say is a pack of lies. And I knew if you want to get them on a little bit more detail, this is very easy to understand. See, they say extra CO2 in the upper atmosphere is going to make more infrared come down, therefore it warms the surface. Okay, and the extra CO2 will do that, they say, so it gets warmer. Well, okay, but there's extra CO2 on the ground as well, and that is going to also make radiation upwards. And it's warmer down here than up there, so there's going to be more heat going up than coming down. So the extra CO2 will make it cooler. That's what reality is. And that is actually what happens. We have the data that shows it. And I don't have it here, but it's all in this exciting pamphlet there. But you see, let's be clear, they're saying that heat was going to flow from a cold body to a warm body. Now that is bollocks. It's against, if you want to be technical, against the second law of thermodynamics. Heat will not flow from a cold body to a hot body. Because if you wanted to reduce your energy bill, it would be simple. You put your cup in front of you and you wish it to get warm. Wonderful, isn't it? Thank you. Now, of course, I've raised this in meetings and said, look, please, guys, can we discuss this? But no, they won't. They'll end the meeting. So David King always ends the meeting when I start speaking. Right, now, of course, we've had quite a bit of fun this year because it got hotter, didn't it? There was some pretty hot spells, that's absolutely true. But, you see, this was part of a 19-year cycle, namely 1984, 2003 and 2022. Now all the children here can know that there's 19 years between each of these. I know some of you older ones, you've forgotten that. But anyway, the miners' strike, remember that heat, 2003? It was very searing heat. And this year there were some very hot spells. But you see, it was a 19-year cycle to do with the moon's interference of the solar wind, the rush of particles from the sun, and these things are predictable. There's other cycles causing other sets of hot spells, like in 1976, which we didn't go into now. But that is the point. There is a cycle which is explicable. And furthermore, to get what they believe, to get you to believe what they have, they've actually lied about current data. Because they say record. Now, the records have been in St James's Park, which has had vast amount of new build all around London, making it hotter in these situations, or on airfields and airports. Well, this is tarmac. What the hell? It's nonsense. But there's no data set anywhere near these places that they talk about, which is in the countryside, where there's not been this sort of interference. There's not a reliable long data set showing anything extraordinary in the terms that they say. And furthermore, their so-called record temperature in the UK of 2019, I think it was, in Cambridge was nonsense as well. Because that was a new build area in the bio whatever centre, with new build to the south east of it, and it was just hot air coming in. And 5 or 10 miles away, there was a long data set which didn't show anything special. So they are choosing the data. They are lying, and lying. I'm meant to add that. Geoengineering is real. There was a select committee in Parliament that was investigating it, and it terminated its investigations early. Now, if we have anything to do with it, we'll be campaigning Let the UK Live, demanding all those things I've mentioned, but also an end to all the geoengineering and the truth. Because it is real. There's some things they can do, which they're claiming, which they can't do. They can't change climate with this stuff, no, but they can change local weather. Like New South Wales, they've been cloud seeding to make tons of rain in an area which they want to wipe out and build a smart city. That's what they're doing. And they can enhance certain things. They can't really make it necessarily hotter, but they can make rain in places to cause trouble. But it's not just that they're doing, they're also putting poisons in the air. Aluminium, strontium, and so forth. Those things are there to harm you. And, you have to monitor where they're putting this stuff, because they probably don't put it over Buckingham Palace, for example. Or maybe they have, I don't know. But, we have to fight all that geoengineering lies. I know there'll be people saying, oh, Piers, look, don't go too far, don't say this, don't say that. But look, I've been through life saying, oh, yeah, well, accept climate change a little bit. No, it's all bollocks. If you know the truth, speak the truth.